portal, funded by the European Union and UK aid.
Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. If you check out the servings, just do the maths. Not taking too much, finger below the facts. Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Take note of the sodium, the sugars and the fats by percent. And let's end up on the right track. You for zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Vitamins, minerals and vitamin 2, 20% and more that good for you. You for zoom in. Check the nutrition facts. You for zoom in. Check the nutrition facts. You for zoom in. Check the nutrition facts. Less sugar, less salt intake and less fat. You for zoom in.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Jamaica Moves, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, the National Health Fund, and Japan.
Once upon a time in a Caribbean island known for its rich culture and natural beauty, lived a group of people who were buried in piles and piles and more piles of paper. Papers spanning back to the start of time. Then came a bright idea, harnessing technology to work smarter and not harder. The government of Jamaica is improving its operations to serve citizens better. Many services are now available online, and there's more to come. The government of Jamaica, building a better public sector for all.
Are you an entrepreneur producing an excellent Jamaican product or service? Did you know you can earn hard currency and more significant returns by exporting? Contact the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to help propel your business along the export lane.
Everything you can produce, the Jamaicans overseas want it. We're not going to get rich by just bringing down the debt. We're going to get rich by exporting a lot more. So grow exports, create job opportunities, drive economic growth through exports to make Jamaica a richer and much more prosperous country.
Today, we can report 2 consecutive years of reduction in major crimes and murders, with a significant reduction of almost 20% in murders for 2024.
Between January 2022 and January 2025, we have reduced murders by 51%, and January 2025 had the lowest monthly murder count since September 2014.
Our efforts have also resulted in the reduction of active gangs by 50%. We continue to increase firearm seizures, and in more communities, we are experiencing less violence. We will realize our vision of Jamaica as the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise families, and retire in peace and prosperity.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. Mosquitoes will breed in any container that holds water.
Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, barrels, buckets and tanks. If this cannot be done, pour cooking oil on the water surface. Punch holes in all tins, plastics and beverage boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover all tires or fill with dirt to prevent water collection. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs. Use mosquito repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites. Dispose of garbage properly by placing in plastic bags and securing properly to prevent water collection.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Jamaica, I can help you protect our citizens.
Jamaica Eye will play a part in increasing your public safety.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, log on to jamaicaeye.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
So who keeps our taxpayer money in check? Well, the PAC and PAAC help watch over the country's budget. And one might sound like it just have an extra A, but they're way different. Here's how. The PAAC and PAC are two committees that watch the money. The Public Accounts Committee reviews government projects after them close. They do a post-audit check to see what problems arose with the costs and call officials to explain decisions that cause budget mismanagement. And then they recommend corrective action. So the problem will happen from when, not happen again. But what about the money we are spending right now? The PAAC. That's how Public Administration and Appropriations Committee pretty much means your money will protect as it happen, we check. While projects go on, things are accurate. As government spend the nation's budget, PAAC reviews it. They examine proposals and summon officials to find problems before them don't use it. So the PAC and PAAC are two parliamentary committees that watch over the country's wallet to protect the budget and keep it in check. And you can get involved. Just visit jampja.org.
Join the conversation focusing on Jamaica's development. Tune in to the post-cabinet press briefings, Wednesdays live at 9 a.m. with a rebroadcast at 9 p.m. right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.
We want a peace for Jamaica. Yeah. We have to be our brother's keeper. Yeah. Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life. Want we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good. I better you and I. No say we future bright. Jamaica live good. Come together as one. I make the violence the one.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Attitude is something which productivity will require, and a good attitude. So these are conversations which are difficult. Because how do you instill a good attitude? It starts by the kinds of activities that you engage your children in at an early age. What are we teaching our children even in our own homes? How do they see us reacting to challenges? How do they hear us addressing issues? That's what's going to shape their attitude and their mindset.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock, we're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC.
Do you wish there were a way your community could get funding to improve a school, health center, sports program, and more? There is. It's the Constituency Development Fund. Here are a few things you probably didn't know about the CDF and how you can make it work better for you. The CDF policy promotes citizen participation in community development and the protection of taxpayers' funds. It outlines that MPs are to meet with citizens at least once every 2 years to agree on the projects needed. You know, it used to be once a year? We should really go back to that. Projects developed without community consultation are not not to be approved by the bipartisan CDF Parliamentary Committee. There are 26 government agencies that implement projects, usually for a small fee. Funds are provided directly from the Office of the Prime Minister to the implementing agency, not through the Member of Parliament. The CDF unit monitors project costs and implementation, so if you have questions about how the CDF are run in your community, contact them. To ensure no one project or community gets all the funds, there are 6 project categories with spending limits for each. There must be no less than 5 and no more than 20 projects each year. To learn more, visit jampja.org to view your MP's CDF info and tell them how this fund has impacted you. If you don't see your MP's CDF reports, then put them under little pressure, man. Call, tweet, email. Ask them when they'll submit it and when is the next CDF meeting. Change is possible. It's already happening. What we need is you. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. To fight crime and violence in your country, your government has invested over $9.7 billion into national security systems. This includes the construction and renovation of dozens of police stations, the acquisition of critical security equipment such as patrol vessels and police vehicles, the recruitment and training of more police officers, and the build-out of the Jamaica Defense Force. Your government is investing in your safety. We are building Jamaica. The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. You fi check out the servings, just do the maths. Not taking too much, finger below the facts. Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Take note of the sodium, the sugars and the fats by percent or less in the on the right track. You fi zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Vitamins, minerals and vitamin 2, 20% and more that good for you. You fi zoom in, check the nutrition facts. You fi zoom in, check the nutrition facts. You fi zoom in, check the nutrition facts. Less sugar, less salt intake and less fat. You fi zoom in.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Jamaica Moves, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, the National Health Fund and Japan.
What you girl? I feel stressed out. 2 months from my baby and a peer problem with breastfeeding. The baby not get enough milk like when I'm there at the hospital.
So why you never tell me?
I didn't even know. I not rest. A peer problem with breastfeeding. People keep on telling me something to give the baby bush tea and say it good for him. Then my friend them tell me say if I breastfeed, my breast are gonna drop.
No go so. A 5 hour me breastfeed. I don't know my breast them. No make nobody stress you out. Because if you're stressed, you're not going to produce enough milk. I better ask your nurse or your doctor.
Me hear the matter about breastfeeding support with the clinic. Then teach the young mothers how to breastfeed properly. And take care of the picnic. Then teach our family to, you know.
I'm going to eat Friday when I go clinic.
And make sure you ask about the breastfeeding support group and join.
Thank you, Mommy. I don't know what me to do without you.
Breastfeeding is an act of love that bonds mothers and babies and provides mothers protection by lowering their risk of developing cervical and breast cancer. Breast is best. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock. We're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. Your government is empowering you through education, training, and development. That is why we have removed all fees for every Jamaican accessing training through the Heart NSTA Trust. So, whatever you desire training in, food and hospitality, beauty and cosmetology, housekeeping and hotel management, welding, carpentry, masonry, or any of the dozens of programs Heart offers, you can enroll completely free and change your life. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the...
All right, good morning, everyone. And meeting has been called to order. I ask for prayers from Senator Floyd Morris. Senator Morris. Just assist.
All right. Standing Orders Committee at prayer. Oh, what Almighty God we serve. We want to give you thanks and praise for your matchless and holy name. We want to thank you for sparing our lives so that we could wake up this morning in our right mind. We pray, God, that as we deliberate at this committee, you will send your Holy Spirit to be with us, to guide us in all our thoughts and our deliberation, and pray that it will redound to the benefit of the Jamaican people. Bless us and guide the footsteps of those who are coming. Lead and direct, guide and protect. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Morris. And are there any apologies for absence? Any apologies for absence? The substantive chairman is absent. He had some urgent matters to take care of this morning. Let's also hope that he'll be able to join us before the end of this meeting. Any other apologies for absence? I think I saw one coming through the president that would have spoken to Senator Scott Motley. Any other apologies? All right. As a matter of welcome, today we have with us, and I wish to extend welcome to them, legal interns, the legal interns, Mrs. Cadian Mackenzie. Mrs. Mackenzie. Okay, that smiling person sitting at the back. And also Miss Marian Johnson, okay? And both of them are students from the Norman Manley Law School. First year or second? First year? Okay. Well, just completing first year. Okay. And as I said, from Norman Manley, and they have been with the Legislative Council's Department, along with Ms. Tiffany Stewart, our Senior Legislative Counsel, as well as Ms. Ashley Zimenez, Legislative Counsel. And when you find yourself in those positions as legal interns, you know that the heavy load drops on you. But I'm certain that you will be up to the task, right? So this is the Standing Orders Committee. I wish to welcome you to this committee. And you have been here how long? Started when? The second week. So you'd have already been deep into the task. All right. Yes, Madam.
Good morning, everyone. So just to indicate that we had a request earlier for 2 members to join us via Zoom, and I'm currently awaiting an update as to why the screens are not on. So that would be for Senator Fraser Binns and Scott Motley.
Okay, Mr. Scott Motley will be by Zoom.
Yes.
All right. All right, so we have the minutes. Minutes were circulated. And I will go through page 1. Page 2. As you know, we have been dealing with some standing orders that are referred to on page 2, and I think after extensive discussion, some of those standing orders are going to be part of a comprehensive report that will be coming to the committee. Page 3. On 4. And 4 is where we had gotten into another substantial debate in respect to Standing Order 81 that deals with, and it is headed strangers, and the submissions that were being made primarily by Senator Shireen Golden Campbell was that the term strangers was a bit archaic. It went into other issues in relation to the removal of persons who fell into that category. As to how they could be removed from the sitting of or meeting of any committee, sitting of the Senate or the meeting of committee. So page 5. Debate continues on Standing Order 81. Page 6. And page 7. So from pages, I think it was 4, from page 4 through to page 7, the minutes would have contained the discussions that came out on Standing Order 81 and the use of the term strangers, and from the notes that would have come out primarily, discussions surrounded the amendment to address the following concerns: to remove the archaic, and I believe the term offensive was used, as to strangers. Senator Shireen Golden Campbell had indicated her opinion as that reference to strangers, Jamaican citizens should not be referred to as strangers to their parliament. and your proposals as to the term being removed and be replaced with non-authorized persons or non-authorized officers of the Parliament. And discussion also surrounded how persons who would have fallen into that category could be removed, because the discussion surrounded that the person could be removed without any debate, and some members were not in agreement with that. That there should be specific reasons that would cause the removal of a person who is not a member from a particular sitting. Pardon me? Okay. And there was a proposal to add a new paragraph outlining expectations for decorum and appropriate behavior, which would have followed the Trinidad and Tobago model. So there are several things that came up in the discussions that, yes, thank you. I'll get to that. But I just generalize in what was contained from pages 4 to 7. All right? Yeah, no, but I'm just, it was a lot of pages, 4 to 7, a lot of things. So I was just telling you what was captured in 4 to 7. All right? Yes, that is correct. So that is basically what was contained in pages 4 to 7. All right? So it's a lot, but so I'll ask for the confirmation of the minutes. Can you turn on your mic, please?
I so move, Chairman.
Okay, and seconded by Senator Floyd Morris. All right, so matters arising from the minutes. Now that I've given you the context of what we had from pages 4 to 7. Senator Marlon Morgan.
Morning, Chairman. Morning, colleagues all.
Just hold a second for me, please. We have Senator Fraser Binns, who is online. She has sought permission to appear online, and I just want to welcome her. Senator Fraser Binns, you hearing us?
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right. Yes, Senator Morgan, go ahead.
Yeah, don't mean to be overly pedantic, Chairman, but I'm noting on page 6 of the minutes, and I'm raising it as a materializing, a suggestion from Ms. Stewart as it relates to moving away from the nomenclature strangers. And the term suggested here was non-authorized members. I suspect that we may not have concluded definitively as to what term we're going to use going forward. But might I commend, Chairman, that we use a term that is in the positive and more affirmative rather than a term that is framed in the negative, such as non-authorized member. I suggest a term such as authorized guests or visitors, may be considered. It essentially signals the spirit with which us as parliamentarians view members of the public and indeed persons who may attend upon these precincts from time to time. The people of Jamaica, when they attend upon the Parliament, they are essentially our guests. We know that there is a prescribed procedure for persons to be admitted, for example, to the gallery, and so they invariably become authorized guests or visitors of ours, rather than framing it in a negative, such as non-authorized members. So that's just my submission on this particular matter, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Senator Morgan. But because that is where the discussion is, and would continue along that line, because once the membership makes its decision in relation to any need for amendment, then the Parliamentary Legal Counsel and her team will do the drafting to capture what the discussions and the decisions have been. All right? Go ahead.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you, Senator, for that comment. I did some further research regarding the proposed amendment to Clause 81, strangers. Now, in looking at the UK standing orders, that is the House of Commons and the House of Lords standing orders, I recognize that stranger was a term that was initially used for anyone who was not a member of either the House of Commons or the House of Lords. However, in 2004, a motion was approved implementing the recommendation of the House of Commons Modernization Select Committee that the term stranger no longer be used and replaced with either member of the public or the public to reflect a more inclusive approach. In the UK as well, they normally use the term I spy strangers as a traditional request for members of the public to leave the galleries of the House of Commons so that the chambers could sit in private. Now, following a request again from the Modernization Select Committee in 2004, the procedure has been abolished and replaced by a simpler one based on the motion that the House sit in private. So the use of the term strangers in the standing orders for the House of Commons has been deleted and substituted with the term members of the public, and sometimes the public is used interchangeably. In terms of Canada, they amended their provision to delete reference to the term strangers and substitute with the term visitors. So we can decide what approach we'd like to undertake.
All right, thank you very much. Senator Floyd Morris.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I was just thinking that, you know, we argue that we are moving the term stranger because individuals who come to the parliament cannot be strangers in their own parliament. The parliament belongs to the people. And at the same time, we want to, it is being suggested that we use either guests or visitors. And as I listened to the legal representative from the parliament, I think, I would be more comfortable with the term members of the public.
All right, thank you, Senator Morris. Any other comment? Senator Safar Langmore.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if public would include a non-national. So suppose you have a non-national. Is that a member of the public? Sorry?
Members of the diplomatic service.
Right. So are they public?
I suppose the distinction is just between persons who are members and persons who are visiting, regardless of whatever their
status is. So it sounds like visitors might be more encompassing?
It's a matter for the membership, you know. So
I just
we have
wondered
got
whether
the
or not we
comment
wouldn't be...
that the research has indicated the use of the term visitors in one jurisdiction, members of the public in another jurisdiction. It's a matter for, but I'm certain that we are moving away from, based on the comments that have been made, is that strangers is going to go out the door. All right? Yeah. Right. So the membership needs to be clear in the direction that you wish to go and the terminologies that we wish to have used. Senator Shireen Goldenkamp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just want to underscore the principle behind my view on this. And it's a question of national psyche for me. It's a question of trying to place in our language, in our written documents, with our symbols, those things that affirm Jamaican citizenship and Jamaican nationhood, and to move away from anything that separates the people from claiming that. And so I'm not particularly happy about the term visitors or guests either, because I don't think you can visit your house. I don't think you can be a guest in your own home. And if I am likening this to the people's house, then I'm not a fan of that terminology. But I take Senator Longmore's point in relation to whether or not members of the public would also encompass non-nationals, and I'm of the view it would. But I don't know that I see harm in that, because the truth is that the point is that the Parliament is a place where the people of Jamaica can come and watch the proceedings of the Parliament at any time in session. And that includes guests of the country. That includes university students who may not be nationals of Jamaica. It includes anybody. We're saying this is the people's house. You can come, the people can come to their house, and the visitors to the island can come to this house and see how we operate as a people in our house. So I would be far more open and supportive of members of the public.
And I suppose just for clarity, in the drafting of the provision SO 81, it could be stated at some point that members of the public includes, and you list them, so it is all inclusive. Any other person who is not a member of the Senate.
Well, why would you do that? Because once you start to include, or once you start to define it in that way, then you narrow the scope of it, don't you?
It would be members of the public includes all persons who are not members of the Senate.
I see.
All right.
I see.
In the definition, yes.
But Chair, is that?
Just hold a second.
No, 1 second. Is that so though? Because if I'm a member of the public,
yes,
I'm also a member of the Senate. So if I came here on a day when I had no business here, no committee meeting, I am entitled to walk in and sit in the gallery as a member of the public. Certainly I may have other privileges as a senator, but I still am a member of the public. Okay. So I don't know that I would make that distinction.
I appreciate it. All right.
Provide further clarity. Thank you, Senator Golding Campbell. Just to provide further clarity, the UK, Canada, North South Wales, and Fiji being a Commonwealth country defines a member of the public as any person other than the Speaker, a member in good standing, and any required parliamentary staff. So that's how they define it. So a member of the public means any person other than the Speaker, maybe in our instance it would be the President, right? A member in good standing, and any required parliamentary staff. So it would be any person other than.
Turn on again.
I can't understand that reference to a member in good standing.
No, but we can amend it.
Yes. Because once you are a member of the Senate, you are a member of the Senate. Or a member of Parliament, you are a member of the Parliament. So there.
I know that.
Yes, but I mean, what I'm saying is that I wouldn't adopt that in its totality here. You know?
But if you are suspended, Senator Morris, you would not be in good standing. And we went through, I think, all right. So, go ahead, Senator.
If a member is suspended, that doesn't extinguish his rights to come here as a member of the public, does it?
No. You are here as a member of the public. So that is what I believe is
right. So I wouldn't support. I mean, he can't, a member who would be suspended can't come and sit in chambers in that role, but I don't think he can be barred. Well, can be. I wouldn't support him being barred to sit in the gallery as a member of the public.
And I don't think that what I heard, that is where the person would find himself as a member of the public.
Right.
That's how I would have understood that particular definition. Yeah.
Right.
So you would it would be captured in that
Right.
position as a member of the
public. Right.
At the time.
Again, member of the public means any person other than the Speaker, in our case the President, a member in good standing, and any required parliamentary staff.
Yes, Senator.
Only thing I would take out of that is I would just limit it to a member and not a member in good standing. I would just take that out of it. And then the intent really is to define who these persons are that we are substituting as strangers, because it's members of the public. And everybody else who are required or who attends the parliament would have been referenced there. The president, the members, and the supporting staff. Everybody else is a member of the public.
All right. Senator Longmore first, and then Senator Morgan.
Thanks. I think the mischief that, if I'm just trying to get your clarity, Cav, I think the mischief that they're trying to ensure is that if somebody is not in keeping with the conduct of the Senate for some reason, or has had some disciplinary measure on them, they would not have the full entitlement to be in the privileges that would be afforded to the full membership. So someone who is suspended would not be in the chambers, so to speak, and would be relegated, so to speak, to the galleries, or would appear in the galleries because that privilege, because of whatever disciplinary measure. So I think if you allow member, there's no distinction in terms of the status of the member at that time.
All right, Senator Morgan. Senator Morgan.
Yes, Chairman. Now, I particularly like the clarity in the definition from those named jurisdictions. However, having regard to the submission from Senator Gale just now, the reason I would be amenable to it is because a member who has had, sanctions levied against him or her, for example, pursuant to 43 of the standing orders, would have already had a prescribed treatment. So it would essentially go without saying that that person cannot attend upon the chamber in this way and enjoy the ordinary, rights and privileges, as it were, of membership in the context of having been named or suspended and that kind of thing. So I am okay with the definition as is, but having regard to what Senator Gale has drawn our attention to, I'm not averse to, yes, leaving out that aspect about being in good standing, because the truth is, a member who is not in good standing, there is an understood and explicit treatment, as it were, of such a member. The Tanayaya kind of,
yes, but then in dealing with the person that under 80, 81, in the event that there is a withdrawal of, right, so the person is going to be able to say, well, I'm a member, so you can't ask me to withdraw.
All right. Okay, thank you. The standing orders give the president authority to act in a particular way. And once the member is suspended from the parliament, he or she cannot enter the parliament until that period of suspension.
No. If the person is sitting in the gallery as a member of the public.
You just read 81, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. So once the person is expelled, suspended, the person ought not to be in the precincts of the parliament.
No, I don't. Sorry, go ahead.
But I just want to say, Mr. Chair, that, you know, the term not in good standing for me is very loaded. And I wouldn't want to add that particular reference to a member. Because, you know, if I should suspend, say, Charles Sinclair from the Senate, is it that, I mean, Charles is not a member in good standing? No. I mean, Charles might misbehave on a particular day that requires a particular action, but that doesn't mean that in the generality he is.
But that is what makes him not in good standing. In other words, an NEC, a member who isn't paid up is a member who is not in good standing of a political party, for example. So it's not, I mean, I don't think it's the same though. The idea is that to the extent that a member, chairman, has had sanction levied against him, what he's saying, what that means is that the standing orders govern the administration, as it were, and the conduct of the respective meetings or sittings of the Senate. Yeah? To the extent that, in keeping with the standing orders, a member has had a measure or an action taken against him, in that moment, you are not a member in good standing, which is why sanctions have been levied against you. I read, for example, Mr. Chairman, 43.9 of the Senate's standing orders. If any member who has been directed to withdraw or who has been suspended under this order refuses at any time to obey the direction of the President to withdraw from the Senate and its precincts, the President shall call the attention of the Senate to the fact that recourse to force is necessary, and so on, to essentially compel compliance. So the point is, not dissimilar to other organizations, for example, political parties. We know that members who are in good standing may offer themselves for nomination to respective offices of a political party, for example. It doesn't mean that they are a lesser member. What it means is that by virtue of not being a paid-up member, you are characterized as and considered as not being a member in good standing. And similarly, in my view, as a member of the Senate, to the extent that you are essentially undergoing or have had meted out to you a punitive sanction under the standing orders, for example, under Standing Order 43, you are in that context not in good standing, which is why you are precluded from even being in the precincts of the Senate.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think we might be twisting up a little bit because, and we're talking now about the question of how we treat with members of the public and who the provision that Council had read and who is allowed to be there, those exceptions being, what was it, member not in good standing, etc., etc. And so we came back to 43 to talk about what status does a member have if they have been suspended. And I believe the member has the status of member of the public. But please, let us be careful, because 43 speaks to breaches of order. And the only place it talks about the president removing a member from the Senate and its precincts is in 43.9. And that removal is a matter where the entire Senate has voted and agreed that the member be removed. So there's a majority of the membership that has agreed, when the question was put to the membership, that the member must be removed. That's a very different situation than when the president says a member must withdraw from the Senate for the day. And so, and a president can say that to a member for a number of reasons. At the end of the day, the Senate the Senate membership consists of two sides who are from two different opposite political parties. And so I conceive of a member, we're talking about the Senate, I conceive of a member who could run the wrong side of a president if they were advocating in a way that disrupted the proceedings, but perhaps for a very good reason they have chosen to do that. They would have to accept the sanction. So are they not to be allowed in the gallery as a member of the public if they have accepted that sanction? And we're not talking about now a situation where the full Senate, with the question put by the president, has said this member's behavior not only grossly disorderly, etc., but he has disregarded the president and has refused to obey the president's directives. That's the ejection that takes you out of the Senate and the precincts of the Senate. That's different. So I think a member who gets on the wrong side and is sanctioned can very well go sit up in the gallery and watch the rest of the proceedings. They can't talk, but if it is so serious that that member, the president has put the question to the Senate and the Senate has voted to remove that member, then that's where we're getting to know that person must be removed from the Senate and the precincts. And remember, the removal from the Senate and the precincts, is in the most extreme situation because his removal is being compelled by force. So it's being removed by the marshal et al. So this is not, this is the most extreme situation, and that person then would not be able to come into the building or anywhere around the building. But I think the others should not be confused.
Chairman, a question online.
I have.
Oh. Yes, Senator Fraser-Binns.
Senator Fraser-Binns.
Thank you, Chairman, because I just wanted to add my inputs. I quite like the definition that the Legal Counsel has offered. And, Mr. Chairman, if we start with a recognition that by being a member of the Parliament, there are certain benefits and privileges that you enjoy, then if you're no longer a member in good standing, then you no longer have those benefits and privileges. Therefore, to that extent, you would be deemed, for the purpose of the word here, a stranger or a member of the public. And so the definition that has been suggested by Legal Counsel, I think, is quite appropriate for the purpose, because a member of Parliament or a member of the Senate who is not in good standing, meaning that person has been suspended for whatever the reason, then that person no longer enjoys the benefits and the privileges. But it doesn't mean that that person is no longer a member of the public. And there's nothing that can stop anyone in the Senate, including the president, from excluding that person from attending the Parliament and sitting in the gallery and observe the happenings in the Parliament, just that that particular person would not be able to enjoy the benefits and the privileges that comes with being a senator. So I wanted to just say that because I think that the definition here is far more appropriate than what presently exists. And the inclusion of a member not in good standing, in fact, what it does, it adds clarity rather than do any harm.
Chair. Thank you. I just have one quick question. I know we're pressed for time. Is a suspended member of the Senate still a member? Is a suspended member of the Senate still a member?
Still a member.
Well, then we should have the distinction of in good standing. Because if a suspended member of the Senate is still a member, then they would be entitled to full privileges. So I think
it's still a police.
It's still a policeman, which is why we need the distinction. Thank you.
And we have been overseen today, and I hope, well, he commended me quietly. But President Tom Tavares Pinston. No, he's not suspended. Can't be suspended. I won't suspend him. But yes, observing quietly on the happenings of the Standing Orders Committee. Came in a little late, but we are happy to have you, Mr. President. And as I said, you're not supposed to blow your own trumpet, you know, but thank you for the commendation. All right. I just want to point out something quickly, though. That, and I think Senator Morris had done it on a previous occasion, that 81 is really speaking to happenings within the well of the, yeah. Okay, all right? Okay. Within the chamber.
Quick comment. The question was asked whether or not a definition would be included. From a drafting perspective, whenever a particular terminology or word is incorporated in a provision or a section, you have to include a new paragraph to state for the purposes of, well, in this instance, for the purposes of Clause 81, member of the public means. So a new paragraph have to be inserted to clarify that definition.
All right. So quickly, I can take it that the membership is that we are going to make an amendment from the use of the term strangers. And members of the public seem to be where we are all accepting, right?
Right, just another approach. It can be included in the interpretation section. However, on the premise that it is only using Clause 81, it is most appropriate from a drafting standpoint to just have that simple paragraph right there in Clause 81. But there can be another approach. But in terms of clarity and completeness, it is preferable to have just a slight amendment to Clause 81 to add that definition.
And we are so agreed. Agreed, members? Aye. All right. So those are our two. And the last major issue was whether it was going to be that the withdrawal is without debate. Whether that remains or... Okay, so that is what we are left with in respect to SO 81 as an issue for directing the parliamentary staff in how they will draft the amendment. And we will do that at the next sitting. It's now 10:11, and I ask for an adjournment, motion for adjournment on the Standing Orders Committee. So moved by Senator Gale, seconded by Senator Shireen Golden Campbell. And on the next occasion, with 2 E's, Mr. President, and on the next occasion, the substantive president will take up that final issue. And we move on. I think we are getting close to the end. Mr. President, some things have to, yes, and there is a substantial redraft of some provisions that are still outstanding. So we have to ensure that you have put in dates that can accommodate the work before.
The redraft, the page 2 of the minutes had requested a redraft of the very critical section, Clause 78. I had the redraft, but we can take that up in another sitting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I was asking that President will look on some dates that can accommodate some longer work period, so we can get through what has to be done. Because I really do believe, and I think Senator Morris is on the same page, that we have done substantial work in this sitting in respect to looking through the standing orders, and we need to conclude it and have the report submitted to the full Senate. So with the motion for adjournment, I thank you all, and we'll see each other on the next occasion. Thank you.
Whenever you hear the following tone, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, will be giving information on an emergency situation affecting the island. Please be on the alert and listen to your radio and television for further information. This was a test of the emergency alert system, brought to you by ODPEM.
Said, and nothing can do about that. But actually, there is, and another 152 countries are doing it. It's called Asset Declaration, and it works best where citizens themselves understand it and help to ensure the law is enforced. Corruption happens when public officials abuse their power to benefit themselves, family, or associates. Jamaica's Integrity Commission Act was designed to prevent corruption, and here are 5 things you should know. 1. Under this law, every year MPs and senators must report what they earn, own, and owe, and if they don't, they'll be sanctioned. 2. Their report must include the same kind of information for their wife or husband and children. 3. If they get a gift worth more than $100,000 from anyone who's not family, they must declare it. 4. A summary of the declarations of our Prime Minister and opposition leader must be published where the public can read it. 5. Parliamentarians can now be prosecuted by the Integrity Commission. They can be fined up to